Yes, Scott, and the Trumper cult. Well, I'll call you guys a cult because you seem to believe whatever nonsense Trump spews. And I'm going to talk tonight. I'm kind of down. You probably can notice that I'm slouched. Um, um, I've just watched some videos on the global warming problem with limiting the global temperature to 2 degrees Celsius. 2 degrees Celsius is about what? Is really 4 degrees Fahrenheit. 4 degrees Fahrenheit for the entire Earth. Okay. Which would mean that really hot places now, like Africa, Sahara, Africa, equatorial Africa, and hot places like in the United States, like Arizona, New Mexico, Southern California, etc., are going to be even hotter. I would say uninhabitable. That's me. This is my opinion. Uninhabitable. The expert scientists say that it's going to be almost impossible to limit the increase in global temperature to 2 degrees C. And there are lots of reasons for that. I guess the biggest reason is we've loaded up. This is not a hard concept. This is not calculus. It's not calculus. I took calculus in college. Freaky. It was almost impossible to understand it. A lot of times it was impossible to understand it. But when you put carbon dioxide every day, there are over 7 billion human beings, and a lot of them are driving cars, driving trucks, riding buses, trains, planes, moving things. I've got my lights on here, lighting, cooking, and I calculated it. 7 billion people emit each day. It's going to be, I said 100 million tons. 100 million tons of carbon dioxide every day go up into the atmosphere. I mean, that's going to have no effect, no greenhouse effect. But are you guys clueless? Are you guys stupid? We've loaded it up now. It's 410 parts per million. It used to be 250 parts per million. So we're loading it up, and it's going up like this, because 7 billion will be 8 billion people, 9 billion people, and if we keep doing what we've been doing, which is burning coal and oil, it's just going to get worse. Now here, the scary part is that the increase in the heat of the globe, of the planet, is 90% of it. Now, this is what the scientists say, as I'm repeating what the scientists say. 90% of it is going into the ocean, the increase in heat. The ocean captures the heat and stores it much better than the land or the air or the atmosphere. So the oceans are storing the heat, stocking it up, so to speak. And the Arctic ice cap will melt maybe in 5 years, maybe sooner, I don't know. And that will make it even worse. If the Arctic ice cap, by the way, for those who have ignored the global warming stuff for the last 15 years, we've been talking about it for 15 years. at least 15 years, maybe 20. I mean, seriously. And then it goes back to maybe 30 was the first conference on global warming. Yeah, there won't be an Arctic ice cap. By the way, let me interject here. Trump is a 70-something-year-old man who cannot learn. He cannot learn new things. It's almost like senility. I'm going to call it senility. Maybe it's a mild form of senility. So he doesn't read. He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't learn new things. Doesn't read, doesn't ask questions, doesn't learn new things. So he's stuck in, as I've said before, 1950. 1950, and he hasn't learned anything. It's easy to laugh at him, but he can't understand any of this. He doesn't know science. He doesn't read. He's not curious. He's going to be one of the worst presidents ever. If the United States survives and civilization survives, I'm getting pessimistic here. If the United States survives and civilization survives, yeah, he'll be one of the worst presidents. I'm trying to think of a worse president. Andrew Johnson? Civil War? I don't know. Richard Nixon? I don't know. I'm having a hard time coming up with them. So it looks like the Earth will warm up more than 2 degrees Celsius, maybe 3 degrees Celsius. That will mean extinction for lots of plants and animals. So, and there are videos all over the YouTube, but you Trumpers don't know science. You ignore science, and we haven't gone to alternative energy, and we load up the atmosphere with carbon. Yep. I don't have children. I have younger relatives, and it will be hard. We'll have climate refugees. By the way, we already have climate refugees. Puerto Rico was wiped out by that hurricane. Huge hurricane. Historically strong hurricane. Okay, and California had wildfires all last year practically. Wildfires. That wasn't a single event. That was a months and months of burning of the forests. So, and it was very hot and very dry. So we've got climate refugees from Puerto Rico going to Florida. So it's already happening. We're already getting climate refugees. Well, thanks a lot, Scott. And, do the pitter-patter with perception, and all these little minor things. Now, we're in an ecological crisis, if not an economic crisis. But, hey, what do I know?